shop with the boss in the box. Talking shop with the boss in the box. Talking shop with the boss in the box.
You know, I don't know. Wait, was your name first in that graphic? Was it brought to you by, or is that brought to you by me and then you? I completely missed that.
You know what? I wasn't looking because it's always you then me.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Because it's the boss in the box.
Okay, good. I was just making sure. I needed top billing because I'm me. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's cool. Champion always comes out last, so I'm fine with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 137 of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, and it is Monday, so you know what that means. It means we're about to be rude, crude, and full of attitude, and I hope you guys like it, and I'll make you like it, just like how Lunchbox likes me every single week.
I like you most weeks.
Oh, I hope so.
So, as you were saying, this is episode 137 of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box, and I am just one half of your handsome, humble, heavyweight co-host duo. That is the Lunchbox, one word, capital L, capital B. Thank you very much. Joined, as always, by the dastardly bastard, the master of disaster, the big wedding crasher. He might even be a hash-slinging slasher, Brandon, the Boss Blacker.
Hey, thank you very much, Mr. Capital LB himself, man. You know, I gotta say, though, being a wedding crasher would be a lot of fun. Have you ever done that?
Crashed a wedding? Not weddings, no, but I crashed parties left, right, and sideways.
I think it would be fun to just, like, show up to someone's random, like, wedding and just be like, yeah, I'm friends with the groom or I'm friends with the bride, and just go eat all the awesome food and drink all the drinks and then just leave.
As long as you bring a toaster, a blender, or a juicer. Or I guess today the modern gift would be the air fryer. But as long as you bring a cheap one of those and just show up with that in a box, you at least look legit.
Hey, big shout out. What's up, Roger? What's up, Tristan? What's up, Amanda, Jordan, and all of our shopaholics out there, if I should ever be so corny.
Don't forget Mike Vanek. Mike Vanek is extremely important because, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Vanek sucks. And if you need a flyer done, if you need your band promoted, if you want to go on another show that's not ours and you've been one of our esteemed guests, contact Mike Vanek Sucks. That is Mike Vanek Sucks, SUCKS on Facebook. Or if you want the official link on TeePublic, it's tpublic.com/Mike Vanek Sucks, SUX, to go ahead and pick up your important holiday merchandise.
You know, I got t-shirts from there. Did you get your t-shirts, mister?
Why am I going to tell you what I am and am not doing? Maybe I bought you a gift. Maybe I bought all of our guests this year a gift from Mike Vanek Sucks. But you're over here trying to ruin the surprise, which is why I'm the fucking Santa Claus of the group, and you're just the Grinch, Brandon.
Yeah, I get that a lot. That's okay. That's all right. But you know what? It's not about me. It's not about you. Episode 137 is all about a 6'6", 305-pound pro wrestling grizzly. That's right. He is a D1 All-American, a two-time PAC-12 or PAC-12, I don't know how to pronounce that, Pac-12 champion. He is a former NXT star. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a massive mountain of a man. Let me introduce to you Grizzly Kal Jak. What's up, buddy?
Yo, here I am. Talking shop with the boss in the box. You know, I'll give you guys credit. It took 136 episodes to find the right guess. Was it 167 or was it 137? Who cares? You got me on the show. It doesn't matter. So I'm happy to be here, guys. Thank you for having me.
It's so an early fun. Christmas gift.
And it's the gift that keeps on giving. Me.
We'll see about that. So
worries.
how you been, man? What have you been up to in this wonderful world that we call a pandemic nowadays?
it's starting to loosen up quite a bit more for the pro wrestling scene. When it was very heavy last year and half of this year, it sucked. It was the shits. I'm glad that things are starting to come back to life more and more, so so far it's been good. It's been a very good, I'd say a couple months has been really solid for me. So I'm doing very well. Thank you.
And it looks like you have a genuine fan in the chat, and Mike Vanek. He says, "Go Beavers! Loved him.
Go Beavs!
Loved him in the Pac-10."
That's right, dude. That's my conference. Very fun time in my life. It was like 10 years ago. I was wrestling back then. Not to date myself, but
that's okay. You're still young in comparison to us, by the sounds of it.
No worries. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. I'm like fine wine, just get better with time.
Exactly, right? You don't get older, you just get better.
Exactly.
So fuck it, let's just jump right into the meat of it. Since we already started talking about Pac-10, Oregon State, NCAA All-American, you go from that route into the ring. Why not the Olympian side? Why not MMA? Because at the time, that was when the boom happened.
That's a good question. At that point in time, I was looking at what opportunities present itself. And I definitely wasn't really sure if I wanted to do Olympic style wrestling. I think I kind of didn't give myself enough confidence in it because I didn't do as well as I should have my senior year. I felt I should have been a national champ. And if you win nationals, you get an automatic bid for the Olympic trials to compete in it. And I think that year is 2012, so it would have been for that 2012 Olympic run. I just didn't really see it as the thing I wanted to do, and then WWE presented itself to do a tryout, and I had enough confidence in myself that I would make the tryout and kick ass in it, and then get signed with WWE, which ultimately that's what happened. But that was the thing that presented itself at the time, and so that's kind of where I, thought my path was leading more so, if that makes sense.
No, total. But hang on, let me hit the pause button real quick. So you went straight from college to a WWE tryout. No formal wrestling training whatsoever yet?
No, I had none. And the thing is, I kind of wish I would have at least gone to a school or a dojo to learn some of the basics that they would have looked at as far as like the concept of what ring psychology is, what it means to take a bump, how do you run the ropes, how do you define what your character is, just kind of have a blueprint going in before starting the training, because when you go in there with zero knowledge, you're going at a snail's pace at learning everything that they want to show you. When now looking back, it's like you can learn everything a lot faster in a independent pro wrestling school compared to where I was learning when I was in the WWE developmental system. So
yeah, go on. Say, which kind of leads me to a question of having experience in the WWE, NXT, Breaking Ground area, dynamic. What did you take away from being in that program as opposed to being in independent wrestling? Especially as somebody who didn't have experience, what did you learn and what did you learn now? Kind of a compare and contrast.
So what I learned then was that's a TV show. Pro wrestling is pro wrestling. WWE is a TV show that has pro wrestling involved sometimes. And then every now and then those TV stars will go out there and do a great pro wrestling match. What I learned now is that in pro wrestling, it's more about the performance and how well you can captivate the audience with your abilities in the ring. And also people have to keep in mind that pro wrestling is like ice cream. There's different flavors that people like, and it changes all the time on what's hot and what's not. So at some point in time, maybe I'm fucking cookie dough and everybody wants pistachio from Ben & Jerry's. It just depends on what's the flavor that's everyone's into these days.
All right, we can't get all hopped up on food here because, next thing you know, we're going to pause the show and I'll have to run to the freezer real quick because all of us could probably pack away some ice cream. But I get what you're saying. it's the circus, right? If you don't like the clowns, you'll like the elephants.
Exactly, for sure. So, you know, you don't know. It changes all the time. You know, some people want to see more shoot style, but some people want to see something you'd see in an action movie. Some people want to see dudes get hit with light bulbs or something, you know? So in WWE, it was more like, when I was there, it was more like, what's your character, how would your character wrestle? Well, that's fucking great for a kid who only knows college wrestling and goes into not knowing what his character is or what is a character. Like, I didn't take any acting or anything before going into WWE, which now thinking back, I'm like, geez, I should have like joined a comedy implant before I started pro. I started taking like an acting class to at least have an idea, because all the guys and gals that were more acting heavy had quicker opportunities to make it on NXT and then to main compared to somebody who could barely put a sentence together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, which is why you got passed straight into the hands of Gerald Briscoe.
Well, that's the thing, because Jerry recruited me, and I'm proud to say, and everyone who is a Briscoe boy always holds on to that title with a lot of pride. Jerry's one of the best. I've always said he's the number one guy who's recruited some of the top talent that we see in WWE in the past, and for the majority of the present right now. So I owe Jerry Briscoe a lot. He's a great guy, and he's definitely one of the people I look up to the most in this business.
Yeah, you recently got that. He tweeted out that, you know, and I quote, Grizz is as good as anybody else out there. He just needs the right person to take a look at him.
Absolutely.
And that's insane praise, man. Like, that was one of those things when that came up on my feed, I couldn't heart react that shit enough. That's dope.
No, and that's the thing where it's like, for me, everybody, the thing that me and a couple of guys talk about is like, they all know who I am, but it's up to them if they want to pull the trigger on me or not. And if they feel like they can't, then that's on them, because I've done a lot to where I know how good I am. I know the shit I can do, and I know what I can bring presentation wise. I know how to fucking cut a promo, and I know how to wrestle. And if they don't see me fit in the narrative of their company, then that's on them. I don't give a fuck, because I know my worth, I know my brand, and I know what I can do. You just have to give me the opportunity to showcase it the right way. You know, that's kind of the way I look at it.
I have a killer question pertaining to that, but I want to chamber it because it's kind of a main event question.
For sure.
Like, trust me, it was the one that I sat there and rewrote 6 times because I wanted to formulate it properly.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, dude, go ahead, Brandon. I just stole 2. No. I stole 2 questions straight.
No, you're good, man. Like, of course, I want to get some of these generic NXT questions out of the way real quick, because I'm sure you've heard all of these over and over again. But, you know, do you still communicate with anybody from Breaking Ground NXT nowadays?
Breaking Ground, not so much. I said fuck you to those guys not too long ago when I got let go. I mean, just being honest. As far as like people that I train with in NXT and developmental, I did talk to some people at SummerSlam when they were in town, and that was kind of a cool experience. And I got to kind of reconnect with some of the people that are on the main roster right now. Like Angelo Dawkins is a really close friend of mine. I really like that dude. I'm really happy for him. I got to see Baron Corbin, which is really cool. He was one of the homeboys when I was in developmental. And for the most part, you know, it's even hard to say. I still have friends in WWE with the round of cutting. They dropped a bunch of the people lately. So it's interesting to see how everyone ends up kind of in the same realm as me now in the independent circuit.
You know,
yeah, go on.
So being on the circuit as you are now, and having friends in WWE, and having kind of tasted a bit of how WWE works, how does that make you feel? Seeing friends or colleagues just being cut like that, you know, having WWE do business and just kind of doing away and cutting contracts. Like, how does that make you feel as a performer? Like, you know, putting yourself in their shoes.
I think of it as a couple ways. everyone, if you make it to WWE and you get on the main roster and you instantly have that experience, that TV experience, that TV notoriety, then your life is made on the indies any way you want to dice it. I don't feel bad for anyone that gets cut or released because I had a really shitty exit, and so like I don't really have too much resource because they have more of an outlet to get booked and to get a faster push in the indies to any company before I do. So it sucks for them, but at the end of the day, we all have an expiration date when you go to that company. And the thing is, you have to look at it as your brand. And someone said it the best. Someone said like, look at somebody like Fergal Devin, Prince Devitt, Finn Balor. He did the work in New Japan. He went and got his money in WWE. So he already had a brand that people could sit back on, and then he was able to expand it in WWE. And then, a lot of guys that go there, when they get let go, they can either go to Impact or look at AEW swooping up a lot of guys that got released. So, and then a lot of the time, this is the part that kind of bothers me, is that those guys are all bitter to WWE. But if it wasn't for WWE, you wouldn't have that platform. So there's no point in being bitter about, oh, they didn't use me right. Oh, like, dude, you made it on main, and you had the opportunity to show what you could do and be flexible. And if it just didn't work out, then it just didn't work out. But you still had the chance. I never had the chance. They fired my ass and they filmed it. Which, fuck, dude, that's just the way it is.
Well, my question to you in that regard is, oh man, my train derailed on that. Give me a second.
No worries.
Do you really think they're bitter, or are they just selling the bitterness? Because let's face it, we live in a fucking negative society that loves to latch onto that shit. Drama sells,
I think I agree, because I feel like a lot of people do feed off that negativity, and any chance they get, they're gonna, they'll grab onto that, and then they just want to bash WWE in any fucking way they can. But it's a TV show. Said from the beginning, it's a TV show. They have their main players, and then they have all the co-stars. I look at it, it's like The Walking Dead. It's like Game of Thrones. They know who they want to push and promote. You just have to think of it that way. You're gonna get killed off anyway.
Right, you're gonna die. I mean, they killed off the guy on the cover of the book, and nobody's safe.
Yeah, exactly. No one's safe.
Speaking of which, is that the origin of the name Kal Jak? Is Khal Drogo?
See, not many people figured it out, but you did.
I'm a journalist, sir.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If people, there's all these little hints to my name, the way I spell it, the origin of the name. It's so funny because there was this like shitty Sportster thing, and they said worst names that ever leave WWE to go to Independence, and I'm like, you guys totally went over your heads. The whole point of the fucking name. So. No, I give you props.
What'd they say?
They're like, why would you go with the name Kal Jak when you should have just picked your real name? And we don't like the way it's spelled and stuff. I'm like, there's the reason why it's spelled. There's no C's in my name because I'm not average. Why would I put a C in my name? Just little shit like that. And then Kal Jak is similar to Khal Drogo because I don't see it. Some people say I look like him, but I don't know. So I just ran with it and came with the name Kal Jak.
Okay, I don't think you look like, Jason Momoa, no. But you have similar features with the hair, the beard, the, massive frame, the imposing nature.
But I never thought I looked like him, so and at the time, I think Game of Thrones was popular, so they gave me the name Cal, and I just kind of went with it. And also, I think because I was from California, which is kind of dumb, but... whatever.
Yeah, I didn't realize till recently you're from our neck of the woods.
Oh yeah. I grew up in Vacaville.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's out there in Los Banos. Yep. I'm over here next to Antioch.
Oh, you're in the Bass.
Yep. Oh, thank you. You got it right, dude. We're scoring buckets. It is the Baths, not the bathrooms, like everybody said.
It's the Bass, dude.
Have you ever checked out the hot
springs? I kid from Los Banos. I know what's up.
Thank God. Have you ever eaten at Wool Growers out here?
No, I've only stayed at like a Best Western. That's
Next
it.
next time you drive by, give me a day or two's notice. I'll take you to the best restaurant in town.
Oh, that's what's up.
Oh, dude, I'll feed you too. The name's Lunchbox for a reason. It's not just because I'm built like this. I'm a mean chef.
Hey, dude, I like to eat, so I won't say no to that. Food's my new addiction for sure. I love eating just anything and everything.
Was that the place you took me to breakfast?
No, I took you to Eddie's. No, Woolgar's is a Basque dinner restaurant, family style. All you can eat except for the entree.
I haven't been to that one yet.
But no, I got you. You're just never here for dinner. And when you are, we're doing an event like it's WrestleMania or something. Like we can't go to the restaurant for WrestleMania. They don't have it on the TV. They're an old people place.
You have to go to like B-Dubs or something.
Yeah, no, I don't have none of that here, dude. Small town.
No, for sure. I know about the Bass.
Yeah,
Definitely do.
like you said, you hit a Best Western here to, out in the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
All right. Well, I want to shift gears a little bit because here's the stuff I want to talk about. I'm a huge MMA fan too.
Okay.
And recently I saw you got to train with Tim Johnson before the Fedor fight.
Yep.
And you've recently been spending time with Francis Ngannou.
Yep.
Like, dude, what's that like to train with such high-level athletes, dudes that are bigger than you?
No, they're not bigger.
I thought Tim and Francis had you a little bit there.
No way. I'm a foot taller and 30 pounds bigger than Tim. And not like a foot taller, but I'm like a smidge taller than Tim. And then Francis and I are like see eye to eye. And I'm about 10 pounds heavier than him. So.
That's his walk around weight's like near 3?
No, it's probably like 280-ish, I'm guessing.
I'll say he's huge, dude.
He's big, dude. He's not the biggest guy that I've ever he's an imposing figure, but he's he's strong. Like he's a big strong guy. So it was fun to train with him and wrestle with him a little bit, I'm gonna probably see him this Wednesday to do a little wrestling work with him.
Is that what you're doing? Is honing up for his wrestling chops for the Cyril fight or what?
Can't say, but they need a guy who's a former Division I All-American to work with their bigger guys in the wrestling, and they asked me to come in, so I said sure. They knew what's up.
That's just badass to me, dude. To see you training with Francis, like I said, Tim Johnson. Who else have you trained with in the MMA realm?
I've trained with Chael Sonnen quite a bit. Definitely grew up in Vacaville. You're not too far from Sacramento, which is where Uriah Faber's gym was at. So I got to roll around with all those guys. You name it, they were there. From like the Cody Garbrands to TJ Dillashaw to those are like more the notable names.
I'm a huge Team Alpha Male fan. Like, dude, like it's for whatever reason it's kind of comical to see you to think of seeing you wrestle like Cody Garbrandt.
No, but we had a jiu-jitsu practice once, and it was out of a spot where one of the guys was pulling guard, and I remember Cody showed how to sweep the leg to get the guy on his ass, and he showed me that, and I thought that was kind of cool. Not that I need to apply it, because I'm never on my ass, but it was that was a cool little interaction with him, and there's quite a bit of guys. Like, for instance, the one guy I'm buddies with now that's at Extreme Couture, who's killing it right now, is Chris Curtis, the Action Man. So
yeah, just won on Saturday, right?
Yeah, he just won. And it's just funny because last week we're at pro practice for MMA, and he's just doing all the same shit I am, and then he goes out and knocks out. And another person that was there was Ari Sterling, the Funk Master. So it was cool to roll around in the same practice room as him.
Wait, as in current or bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling?
Aljamain Sterling, that's what I meant. Yeah, he was there.
Oh, dude, that's badass.
Yeah.
Now, backing up a little bit, I got to know, is Chael P. Sonnen that ridiculous in real life?
There's no doubt. He loves the gimmick.
Like the P really does stand for undefeated?
P stands for phenomenal, undefeated. He's the gangster, man. I love Chael. He's the best dude. Couldn't say anything negative about Chael if you forced me to. So.
Oh no, I adore Chael Sonnen. He was the first fighter to do a good job of really bringing the showmanship, the gamesmanship, the promo
to
MMA. Like Tito tried, but he just sounded like a corny tough guy in a B movie.
He doesn't have the personality. And another thing is, like, a lot of people don't know this. Some do, but I was college teammates with like Colby Covington, and so it's cool seeing his persona and the way he is in the ring, or not the ring, but in the octagon, and how he carries himself for media press conferences. So, whether you agree or don't agree, or you're, whatever, but the goal with that guy is he's just trying to get a reaction out of people.
Well, he's trying to get paid, get sold, get up the rankings. I mean, how many great fighters? Look at John Fitch. It took him 10 fights to get to the title.
Yeah. And that's a dude who, like, he has a wrestling background. He wrestled at Purdue, and it was such a marathon with him. You look at that's like Sean O'Malley seems to have it all figured out as far as like getting the notoriety and getting the right push. I listened to an interview by Kevin Lee, and he brought up Sean O'Malley's name about how that guy is the one who's doing it the right way, picking and choosing his fights and getting the right, you get thrown on the pay-per-view, you're getting money. So. Right. By being exciting and by being exciting in the ring and building that persona. Yeah. And that's calling your shot is what those guys are doing. He says he's going to knock the guy out, and then he does it. Every time people like Conor McGregor is doing the Mystic Mac thing. Yes. Dude, it elevates guys. For whatever reason, when you say what you're going to do and you do it, that puts you up on the board. Not just talking just to talk. I think Colby was kind of just talking just to talk, but he had to, and then he kills Damian Maya, just beats the shit out of him. And then that was his moment where he backed up what he said, and then he did it in Brazil where he almost got killed. Like, he was close to getting, like, shot or stabbed or whatever. Oh, yeah, straight. Brandon, are you aware of what we're talking about right now?
No.
It's okay. It's all right.
His former teammate was basically he was winning every fight, but he just didn't have much for persona, and he ground out his wins over.
And it wasn't like he was kicking anyone's ass. He's just winning, and it's like if you don't bring eyes, then no one's gonna watch you.
Right, and we're gonna let your contract expire with one loss and 8 wins. So he started running his mouth, and he called the city of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil a bunch of filthy animals after he kicked the nicest guy in his division's ass.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, I have a poster of me and him in college. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's like right here, and then he's right here. So.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'll try to bring it over if you guys can see that. So, yeah, he's right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's right here. Flexing the guns. So, I don't lie about what I say, man. I back up all my shit too. Maybe not as over the top as him, but it's like I trained with killers and some of the baddest dudes on the planet for a long time. So teach his own.
In a lot of venues, so being as we're on the MMA crossing into wrestling kind of thing, like I was saying, these guys are bringing promos to the UFC. Now, something we've seen is like Seth Petrozelli was the striking coach down there at NXT. You're starting to see a lot more real submission work, more jiu-jitsu style in the ring as opposed to the ridiculous ass submissions, of yesterday. What do you think about the evolution of bringing MMA into pro wrestling? And is that just an evolution of the times, or was it just necessary to bring the realism?
I'll say that they got very lucky with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly because those guys do that MMA style better than anyone. I mean, yes, I mean, like, you do have guys like Matt Riddle, but like I just feel like those two kind of do it better than anyone, at least with the way they move around and stuff and just how smooth they are in the ring. I don't think anyone's better at it than like Bobby Fish or Kyle O'Reilly. As far as but the thing is, those guys are both pro wrestling fans and MMA guys too. Or they both, they're both pro wrestling MMA guys. So they knew how to like transition it better than anyone. I think it would be hard to take a pure. I think of it this way. It's like I was a pure college wrestler. It took me quite a bit to figure out my footing in pro wrestling. And it's almost kind of the same way where you take an MMA fighter, whether he's more jiu-jitsu friendly or he's more of just a pure grappler, or he's more of a striking, kickboxing, Muay Thai guy, because at the end of the day, you got to learn how to pull your punches and, protect your opponent. And some people think that, those guys can do it, but it's not as simple as just, there's a difference between throwing a good pro wrestling punch and a good MMA punch. And
Right.
if you have a guy out there, like he could be a Golden Glove boxer and be like, all right, man, throw a punch, but don't hit the guy. Don't connect with him. Actually, matter of fact, barely lightly tap him. How do you change your hand from a strong fist to maybe, loosening up a bit? That's a lot of instinct that they have to let go. And it's not as simple. We had this girl when I first came in developmental. She was like a world champion kickboxer. And she was in the ring unadvised by any of the coaches or anything. She's in the ring with one of the guys, and the guy was helping her with her strikes. And he's like, oh, and the guy was being cocky. He's like, oh, no worries. Just hit me right here. She fucking decks this dude and fucking breaks his nose and knocks him out.
God damn.
Yeah. So it's not like, you can bring these guys in, but like they got to learn that there's a way to do things in a safe way, and then eventually the one guy who I think throws the best punch in pro wrestling, you haven't seen much of him lately, is like Danny Burch. Danny Burch was boxing and doing pro wrestling. And if you guys ever watch his punches, like they're really fucking good. So just, if you have a chance, watch how Danny Burch fucking throws a strike. I think he has the best punch right now.
And like you said, it's the opposite mentality. You go from, hey, your goal is to incapacitate this person as quickly as you can, to, hey, make this look like you're trying to incapacitate this person, but don't.
Yeah, and that's like, you look at, easy example, let's take Francis Ngannou, strongest punch PSI in the world. Okay, you see how he fucking launches his body a certain way, all right? He's going in for the fucking kill. How are you going to tell him, all right, Francis, we want you to really throw your whole body into it and then crack your elbow and go down? It's like, you can't, it's just one of those things that you can't teach. You can't just tell someone who can kill somebody with just one punch to do that same type of punch, but then make it safe. That's not how it works.
Right. It's going to take time and hopefully not too many people getting their heads knocked off for that to get done correctly.
And how much trust do you have to have, with your opponent? That's me like, oh, fuck, please, I don't want to die. This is it. We throw a lot of strikes and punches, and occasionally you do get potatoed,
It happens, but yeah, if I'm the first guy, they're like, hey, Francis, try not to kill this guy. I don't know if I'm going to put my hand up to be hit first.
Yeah.
Like, put me at the back of the line.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the poor bastard that has to take it, I hope he has health insurance. I hope he gets paid well, like you hope these people get taken care of, for doing the job. But I mean, that's the thing, like, that's where they try to go, like, what's the point of bringing a striking coach? That sounds great on paper, but that's all it is it looks great on paper. That's why a lot of the times they'll bring in guys like that have my background, or they'll say we signed Olympic gold medalist Gabriel Stevenson. Okay, but he hasn't done anything yet. Yes, he's a gold medalist, but it just looks good on paper. A lot of the times they'll just sign people that just looks good when a company wants to maybe buy out WWE, like, oh, they have this guy and this guy. That's great. That'll be great for representation or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still giggling over the girl knocking the dude out.
Oh, I know. It's it happens all the time, whether it's girls, guys, whatever. Like you bring someone with a little bit of power and pop, it doesn't take much.
So you're
no, especially when that's what they've been doing, is knocking people out.
Yeah, exactly.
So random ass question. You're currently in Las Vegas, right?
Yep.
So I asked this to everybody who lives in Las Vegas. Do you ever go to the Strip?
Only if there's a friend or family member that want to go. But for the most part, if you live in Vegas full time, you don't visit the strip. The strip is for the tourists.
Yeah, yeah. No, I pretty much thought that was going to be the answer because everybody
Yeah.
I've ever talked to who lives in Vegas are like, they usually the answer is actually fuck no. So like, we don't go to the strip. Why would we do that?
Yeah, they're full of shit. Everyone occasionally goes to the strip. You know, it's you know, I don't necessarily I'm not gonna go to the strip just to go, you know. But if like I have a friend in town or my mom wants to go, I'll take them to the strip if that's what they want to do. But for the most part, there's a couple roads we take, none of them ever go through the strip. Exactly.
Like we have routes worked out to avoid this shit.
Yeah, yeah. Because once you're on the strip, it's like it's slow. The lights suck. You know, good luck if you want to make a right turn or a left turn because the people there don't give a fuck. They're going to be crossing the crosswalk, whether it's green or red. It doesn't matter. So that's why people from Vegas don't go to the strip.
Good.
Right, because now it's just traffic annoyances just like we all have anywhere else we live.
Exactly.
So what you're trying to tell me is you're not going out to the Luxor to go see Jennifer Lopez live, right?
No,
No.
I'm good. No,
Yeah. No.
no thanks.
But
So-
go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was going to say, we're on the topic of Vegas. You're down there with a group of killers
Yep.
at the Super Beast training compound. Talk to us a little bit about the mission behind the compound, because I've had my eye on it. I accidentally friended Chris just because he looked cool, and then I start seeing all the cool shit this guy's up to, and from him I just start seeing all these killers that I'm fans of showing up down there. Talk to me about the oasis in the desert there for pro wrestling.
It's a work in progress, and Crody is a self-made man for sure. The Super Beast is, and I mean we've had we've gotten most of the big names we wanted to step foot in the compound. So I mean, like you have Brian Cage who's been in there. We've trained with Moxley in the compound.
Did you throw him?
Moxley?
Yeah.
I mean, I could throw that dude around if I want, but
Did you?
Did I? I might have sweeped the leg a little bit on a takedown or two, but I didn't gut wrench him.
I saw some video on you guys doing drop toe holds on each other, but I want to know if he got thrown around, as the saying is.
No, that wasn't the mission that day. But he's been in there. We've had a lot of big names step on through from, you know, I mean, like we had a show with the Boogeyman was there once randomly. It was just, you know, we just have the random characters that pop in and out, you know. So it's a cool spot, and a lot of people know about it, and that's the best part is that like no one can say they never heard of the compound. They know of the fucking compound. You know, there was talks of getting a Bloodsport match at the compound there with Josh Barnett and stuff, but we don't know if and when that's going to happen.
Okay, I would say you piqued my interest there.
Yeah, so we're definitely working on a bunch of stuff, and that was Moxley's idea, was to have it at the compound. So, you know, making it a running thing there. So there's a lot of talks into just random, and that's me saying it's a running thing there, not anybody else. Just for the record.
Understood.
Yeah.
By the way, you know your name came up in Moxley's book, right?
Oh, did it?
Yes. That was actually what made me remember to ask the question.
Oh.
There's some point, and it's real quick, but it was right after you had said you were good to go for tonight. I got the book and was thumbing through it, and he was sipping drinks with you before taking off from the airport one day.
Oh, shit.
With Grizzly Kal Jak.
Oh, fuck.
And I was just like, holy shit, that's pretty cool.
I remember that day. I didn't know it made it in his book. Kind of made me nervous there for a moment. That's funny. I don't wonder what he was talking about. What that was towards.
Like he was just getting ready to take off for a flight, and then that was the last line in the paragraph was, you know, before I left, I was at the airport sipping drinks with Grizzly Kal.
That's pretty cool.
And like I said, I was just like, that's dope. You know, I'm talking to that guy.
Did you audible read that, or is that in the book?
No, that's on paper. I'll show it to you in
You gotta
post.
take a picture of that and send it to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got the book like 10 feet over there. I finished it in a day and a half and then tossed it at my wife, told her to read it.
Oh, cool! I made someone's book. that's
a cool feeling.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I like Mox, dude. I wish him the best with what he's going through right now. I've had my issues with alcohol and stuff, so I hope that he gets through it and he can come back as a better version of himself.
He will, and better is scary with that man. Like, I'm a huge fan. Like, I really am. The integrity of a guy to get an offer from the WWE and not even look at it, just say, nope, I said I'm done. Like that floored me when I heard that.
Yeah, and that's to me as a dude that he, with his persona and the energy he brings out, just the vibe. Because like the best, like he's a dude that walks in a room and people's heads turn for whatever reason. You know, he's a bit of an enigma, and he just carries himself in a way where he does his own thing, but in his own style, differently than someone who's trying to be fucking unique or tries to stand out. He doesn't have to try to stand out. He just stands out.
Right.
The way he talks and he moves, the way he does all that shit. So he has a different aura about him than most people do. And I think that's one of the reasons why they wanted to keep him, why he's such a weapon in the way he wrestles the moves and the way he talks.
You ever met anybody in the pro wrestling community that you were just completely disappointed in, like a big name, as we're talking about, like Moxley or any of the other names that have stepped into the complex? Have you ever met anybody and you go, yeah, that's awesome, that sucked?
A lot. But the one I will say the most that always sticks out in my head is Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Yes.
Go on.
I have no problem talking about this. It's not like he's liked by a lot of people now. He came to the PC when I was there, and the only thing he was there to do was to do this interview spot, and they had it filmed at the Performance Center. And so he goes in there, he does his thing, and he's kind of just doing his like Hogan walk, like I don't really, I want to get out of here. And we're all like, and this is when, like, bless Coach Bill DeMott's heart, he wanted this experience shared with all the PC guys. And so he rallied up the troops, had everyone meet down in the bottom of the Performance Center, standing by the ring. And then all of a sudden, here comes Terry Bollea, here comes Hulk Hogan. And Bo Dallas was like, he was kind of the main dude at the time when we were in NXT. And Bo's like, hey, Mr. Hogan, it'd be really cool if you could, like, kind of talk to us and share your experiences with, like, what you did in WWE and how you were able to influence so many people with your wrestling, how you captivated everyone with your promos, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, yeah, what do you guys want to know? And we're just like kind of expecting him to bring out that energy he had when he cut promos, the way he talks and the way he delivers. But it went from like thinking he's this fucking badass to, all right, I guess I can talk to you guys. Well, what do you want to know? Kind of energy. So it was so lackluster. And then we're just like, well, how'd you come up with this? He goes, oh, I stole it. And we're like,
shit.
He's like, yeah, just, I'm a mark for the business, so I just, it's kind of how it went. And it's his energy was like that the whole time. And then at the end of the day, we're all like shaking his hand, saying goodbye. And then I shook his hand and said, hey, thanks for coming, Hogan, or said something like, thanks for coming, sir. And he goes, oh, I'm happy you were here. I'm like, what does that mean? I have to be here. I thought it was really random, the way he said it. It didn't make any sense to me.
Well, my dad's famous line when he meets my friends and they leave is, glad you got to meet me.
Yeah. It's something like, happy you were here. I'm like, okay. I thought it was kind of like, a little like, oh, okay.
So, you recently filmed a movie.
Oh, yeah.
What can you tell us about it? When can we expect to see it? What's the fucking title? Is Riv okay after he got shot? Like,
everyone's asking about Riv.
He got shot, dude. We all saw it.
Do you know the movie then? Or you want me to kind of clarify the movie?
Well, we just saw it in the filming when you and Crody were back there, taking videos and shit. I saw Riv get shot. Like, first of all, he seems okay. He's still out there playboying it up and, anemic and sweet, flexing in the gym. So he looks like he recovered okay. But I don't know, man.
He lives.
Yeah, he's alive.
It's a guy that has endured many of death matches, so it takes more than a fake gunshot to put the man down.
This isn't pro wrestlers versus zombies, is it?
No, who knows? It might be the same category.
Right.
I mean, we don't have Jerry the King Lawler there. Tombstone, not what is it? He pile driving a zombie on their head. I wish. I know exactly what you're talking. I've seen that. Everyone's seen that movie. But how do I explain it? It's just like Super Beast finds a way, dude. That's all I can say. Super Beast finds a way. And he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, Cal, do you want to be an extra in a movie?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it went from just showing up to like getting a spot to do a little acting, and to be got to be henchman, but henchman in Kal Jak uniform. So I'm not sure if I'm Kal Jak the henchman or I'm Kal Jak the wrestler. So I mean, you can clearly say it says Kal Jak on my attire. And
but which Kal Jak are you?
Which version of Kal Jak am I? I don't know. So it was a cool experience. I'm glad I did it, and who knows if it'll lead to something else. I mean, I've talked to a few people about possibilities of doing stunt work and some acting. So kind of getting my teeth synced into that a little bit was pretty fun. So, I mean, who knows? It could lead to something else. It's one of those things where you just never know who's watching what, and they see something that you like. But it was a fun experience.
That's interesting you say stunt work, because, like, best of my knowledge, most stuntmen are smaller in stature. So, like, I don't think I've ever personally seen a stuntman who was 6'6". So that
it's like I talked to Mojo Rawley about this when he just did the Snake Eyes movie, and I asked him like, what'd you like? Because he did stunt work in that movie. He fought the dude who was Snake Eyes. I don't know what and I asked him like, well, how was it, dude? And he goes, he just said it's like pro wrestling. The punches and strikes are a lot different, and they can edit things in a way that makes it look like you got hit. And it's pretty much the same thing as pro wrestling, the strikes and the movement. And I mean, if you go watch Black Widow fight. She's just doing her Karanas and flying leg scissors to all the dudes to put them off their feet, which is the same thing you can see at any lucha match.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what do you got, Bucks?
By the way, Mike Vanek messaged me to say that this is the best guest we've ever had. He loves this guy. Please bring him back.
Why is this? It's an oncoming theme. Every time I do an interview, it's always better than what people expected. Damn it.
You know what? We always expect good. And sometimes that's our problem, is we expect good interviews. And you either get the guests that are willing to talk like you are tonight, or you get the ones who you ask them something, you're like, so, tell us a little bit about this new album or this big match or whatever you got going on. And they go, yeah, it's going great. And then they sit back and stare at you for 45 seconds.
No, dude, fuck that. I say what I want, the way I say it. But I try to, because these aren't interviews, these are conversations. I think people have got to get that shit straight. I'm having a conversation. So, and I try to give out the best information I can possibly on anything you guys want to touch base on. Because I've always said I'm a man of experience, whether people want to know it or not.
Speaking of experience, tell us about Japan, man.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh.
I wish.
Well, somebody wrote down some wrong notes.
That's okay. I mean, there's always opportunity. Like, I would love, because everybody said to me, "Oh, you'd be great in Japan. They would love you in Japan. You'd be great in Japan. I love you in Japan." But a lot of the times, it's like you have to know somebody you get in. It's not as simple as just being like, you're right. I'm just going to go to Japan and see what happens.
Right. The old Hollywood movie about the girl heading out west to LA, except you're flying all the way to the Far East.
Yeah, it's not that simple. So it's one of those things where if you have the right eyes on you, that's a big possibility. I do know Josh Barnett pretty well. It's one of those cases where I just have to ring him up and ask him, hey, can you help me get me here? Or, I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure they should know who I am. And if someone says, oh, don't assume that, it's like, I don't give a fuck. They probably do. And it's just seeing who's willing to just say, hey, can you book me on that? So I don't, I feel like that's how it is a lot of the times,
Speaking of Josh Barnett, is it true that they say is he a super big knife and katana guy?
He's an eccentric dude. That's the best way to describe Barnett. He's very eccentric. He is so particular on all the things he likes, and he just has a different kind of outlook on life compared to a lot of people. That's just from what I'm observing, getting to know him. He's hit me up to do catch wrestling tournaments a bunch. And I'm thinking, like, that's cool. I mean, I know I could do catch wrestling, but I'd rather do a booking for a pro wrestling match because that's what I'm trained in. I don't want to do catch wrestling, but he's really adamant about me doing a catch wrestling tournament that he's hosting. But for the most part,
dude, you should do it.
We'll see.
I need
to
get a project or tell you how to live, but
no worries.
Like, that'd be dope.
It probably will happen sooner or later, but I just did an open mat jiu-jitsu practice or open mat jiu-jitsu live sparring at 10th Planet, and that was a fun experience. And it's like I trained with a lot of guys, so it's not a matter of if, it's gonna happen, but I gotta make sure, like, if I'm gonna do a fucking tournament, I gotta win it. I'm not gonna just show up and get a participation award. Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta make sure I fucking win it, because last time I did that wasn't a good look for me. So yeah, I have to make sure all the boxes are checked before I think about doing that, because everything's filmed, and you're only as good as what people see. That's for sure.
Got it. So you're not happy to be there. You're coming to win, or you're not coming.
It's business, man. I'm not going there to make friends. I'm going in there to beat some ass. That's how I look at it.
Speaking of, like, Josh Barnett, like, talk to us about the difference in the organization, the style, the challenges that go into such interesting concepts for a wrestling organization. So, like, say Bloodsport, like, what is the difference between pro wrestling and Bloodsport? To tell us about that a little bit.
So what I like about obviously in Bloodsport, there's no pinfalls. It's a very shoot MMA based pro wrestling match where we're looking at strikes, we're looking at contact, we're looking at grappling, jiu-jitsu, catch wrestling. We're looking at you do all the, it's literally is its own style, its own brand. From I wouldn't even say it's, because it's not like pro wrestling in the sense, well, it's predetermined. It's not always predetermined.
Really?
No. So, like, it kind of just, it is what it is what I would say Bloodsport is, because we have a meeting before every Bloodsport, and Josh is adamant about, we're not slapping the legs. If you get hit, so be it. You get fucking hit. Like, when I took on Eric Hammer, Eric's like, don't pull any punches, man, when you hit me. And I'm like, okay. So first thing you see with me and Hammer, when I go and legit open palm strike him, I legit knocked him on his ass. So that wasn't like a fake hit. That was a real hit. Because we had a gentleman's agreement. Let's hit each other for real.
So you straight boss rooted him with that open hand strike?
Yeah, it was we had a gentleman's agreement, and that's how it should be. Where it's like, okay, do we want to legit go out there and actually hit each other? And I said, fuck, let's go. So our match, we actually legit hit each other. Like, it wasn't fake punches or anything.
But that one had a predetermined outcome, right? Or did y'all go out there to brawl?
Did it though? I mean, I got tired and got my arm. or maybe he did. I don't know. I can't say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a suspension of disbelief. Maybe not. But I'll say that Bloodsport is easily my favorite style pro wrestling, but it's definitely not for everyone because some people want to see the high flying, the lucha style, you know that difference of storytelling compared to Bloodsport. And like you said in the beginning of the podcast, we can talk about ice cream, but we don't want to do that because I don't want you guys to go into the fridge right now while you have me up here. It's definitely its own category thing, and I really do love Bloodsport. Does it work for everyone? No. But do the people that like watching it love it? Fuck yeah. And I love it to death. It's my favorite thing.
It's great.
Absolutely.
I like the furious style, the way it's filmed like a fight. I like the fact that camera work in wrestling has turned to a little bit more MMA style. But for Bloodsport, it really works, and they do a really good job of it, making it fast-paced and dark.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm kind of glad because of Bloodsport, I've wanted to do more jiu-jitsu grappling stuff. So now I have a little bit more of a comfortability doing jiu-jitsu because of Bloodsport, because of how the feeling, the grappling, when you can tell your arms about to get ripped out and pop out, dislocate a shoulder or something, it gives you that feel that you wouldn't have if you didn't do it,
I have an appreciation for it because when I first heard about it, I heard about it because, I was late to the game. I heard about it because Moxley was doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, sweet. And then I learned that Minoru Suzuki was doing it. And then I heard that Andy Williams or the Butcher was doing it. And I was just like, dude, this is dope. And it kind of brought out the whole pro wrestling fan in me as a little kid thing again, because in my head as a fan, I'm like, are they kayfabing us? Is it predetermined? Is it real? Watching them, man, are they really just hitting each other? Or is it just MMA on a wrestling mat? What's going on? So I appreciate it. And as you kind of said, it can be, it can't be, I dig that. I'm all in for it.
Yeah. And I'll say with my match, even with the Super Beast match, we weren't really pulling punches. That's a guy who I train with. So, what we have more comfortability hitting each other and be cool with it after the show. It's just the way it is.
Right. If you can't be cool with beating up with you and your boys beating each other up, who can you be cool with?
Yeah. And I legit choked him out. He didn't tap. So, it's
no shit.
Yeah. So it's just the way it is.
It's like, hey.
And he'll be really mad that I said that, but he let me get the hold, and then that's the way it went.
Hey, sorry I knocked you out. No, it's okay.
Choked him out.
Big difference.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon, I could slip and knock you out with a headbutt, and you try to catch my drunk ass. You can't accidentally choke a man out.
No. Well, he said do it. He's not going to tap. So either do it or not.
Yeah, at that point, it's his call. That's at high level MMA. That's the deal. Is if you the repercussions of not tapping.
Yeah, and that's the gentleman's agreement. He's like, I'm not going to tap, so you better choke me out.
Hey, you discussed it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Sounds like
that's the difference. Bloodsport is it or is it predetermined? So I look at it as we have an agreement. If shit goes down, that's the way it goes down because. He was ready to fucking, him and Shellac was a shoot. It wasn't fake either.
Oh, that one was brutal too.
Yeah. So, that's why Bloodsport is its own thing. I love talking about it too. And, I've said this on another interview where as far as guys that legit train and then they do the stuff, as far as me, Super Beast, and Calder and Bad Dude Tito are we're the one guys that aren't attached to any other promotion. We're not attached to New Japan. We're not really attached as a GCW regular guy. We're not signed with any other little company. We're the only indie underground guys, especially me and Super Beast, that actually do train in MMA. I don't know any of those guys that train with Tim Johnson or Nagano. I'm like the only one. They go to Extreme Couture and like do some stuff other than like Gil Guardo, who is a Extreme Couture guy. So it's like really only a handful.
So how do you feel about having all that independent freedom?
Well, there are no guarantees with independent freedom. So that's the only problem with it. It's not as cut and dry as people that are signed to a company because they know what they're going to get for the most part. But on the independent circuit, things either come up or things fall through a lot. So you just kind of always have to be ready for whatever the outcome is.
Well, and that kind of leads me to that $1 million question I've been chambering for a while. Beautiful, beautiful transition on that, Brandon. And that is, you mentioned Super Beast. I mean, I know Riv's got that new thing going on. But for the most part, there are a lot of you guys, and now with the big roster cuts from WWE, you look at what Matt Cardona did with, Game Changer, and yet you're starting to just see everybody kind of floating everywhere and more people being free to do as they please. And do you think that that's just a now thing, or do you think that that's the way the business is going, where it's almost going to be like a worldwide network of territories again for a little bit?
Well, so this is a lot of things. There's a lot of little things that's going to dictate for that happening. And I think it's going to come back on the boys to start that as a thing. There's rumor that Bray Wyatt and Strowman are starting their own company.
Ooh.
If the guys with the money can fund this thing kind of the way that Cody and the Bucks did with Tony Khan, then there's more opportunity to set up more of the territory days. But it takes a generous hand to feed the people. So it's going to take those guys that have the equity and the money to build up a new brand, to make a territory bigger and better. But it's like you look at Matt Cardona, you look what Zack Ryder is doing with the Game Changer title at GCW.
Yeah.
He was able to not only he was a WWE guy, WWE guy for his whole career as a pro wrestler. And then he carries that same persona into, this outlaw company like GCW. And then he was able not only to build up GCW, but the talent in GCW along with it, getting more eyes on it. Like, you look at the guys that are killing it right now in GCW, and it's because of guys like Matt Cardona, making Nick Gage this terrifying, and Moxley too. So you have Moxley and Matt Cardona that came to GCW, and they wanted to work with one guy, and now you look at like AJ Gray's killing it, Jimmy Lloyd's a name,
Effie's killing it too.
Effie has his own brand and his own thing because of that company and because of guys like Matt Cardona. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, and that's what I'm saying to kind of drag it more into the realm I'm talking about. I don't think this is a quote unquote future thing as far as the opportunity for it. We mentioned what Matt Cardona's doing, how he's elevated Game Changer because all it took was getting that one guy that everybody wanted to see. Boom, eyes are over here. So let's say that happens with all these roster cuts, all these great WWE names who we all talk about not getting their chance or whatever. They start popping up here, there, all these independent promotions. Shit, someone huge at the Compound, someone huge over here at, Blacklist and CWA, who Brandon and I work for. And all of a sudden, everybody's visible. Do you see that as kind of being more what's going to happen now that it just seems like WWE is no longer going to be the juggernaut forever like they used to be?
It's going to be interesting to see the future's going to hold because, if those guys want to do it the way because they have such a bitter taste left in their mouth from WWE, it's possible. It can be done. You can look at AEW. Look at what Impact did, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Like, if there's an ambitious company that wants to, I would love to see, NWA surpass a bunch of people. And then also, it's like, you look at, what really sucked is that ROH canceling the way it did. And we don't know if it's a reset or a restart or they're going to redesign things with the company, because the problem was you had all these big name stars that were in ROH, and then when those guys took their ball and left to AEW, you took all their stars away, and then they had to restart on building, and then COVID happened. So with COVID happening, there was nothing that anyone could like launch themselves into, because you didn't have that audience there to like pick and choose who they were going to like ultimately. And so it's just tough to say if it can happen. I don't know if it, who knows if it will happen. It'd be great if it did. I'm so curious about what Strowman, Wyatt, and I know I'm blanking on his name, but EC3 are going to do with what they're trying to promote right now.
Okay.
See, and this is the first I've heard of that, and that's just crazy. It's just crazy, the visibility for all these people nowadays. You don't have to be in WWE or like you even made a stop in AEW.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen it from both sides. I've seen the AEW side. I've seen the WWE side. I've seen how they do business on all ends of the spectrum. It's not that, to be honest, to be really serious with you guys, it can happen. All it takes is just the right producer, the right TV management that wants to just, throw in their hat or throw their name in the hat, and it can be done. And with someone like Bray Wyatt, who's so creative and he's so innovative with his style and his outlook on the business, considering that his dad was in it, his grandpa was in it, his uncle was in it, like the guy knows pro wrestling. I don't, people can say, well, he didn't, he blah, blah, blah. You're like, he cut his teeth. He knows. And he reinvented himself with two phenomenal characters. So him and Strowman, the persona Strowman carries, those guys can make something really badass. Same with EC3. And then if you see more guys that are lining up to start something like that, and like you said, if they want to create a new territory, it could happen. And it might happen sooner than later. It's up to the boys on who wants to make it, and then at the end of the day, it's about who saved their money and who invested their money right that could make that thing happen.
And I'm also seeing like the other side of the spectrum too, with back on kind of the WWE releasing people kind of thing, is I'm seeing more and more people who have been released just kind of up and say, you know what, I'm done wrestling, at least for an undisclosed allotted amount of time. And I've been seeing that more and more lately with like Tyler Breeze, Nia Jax, and a few others. It's just like they're just like, I've had the experience, I'm done.
Well, that's like you've reached your goal, and I feel like, yeah, that's cool. Once you reach your goal of making it, that's as far as you can get. And then it's like, well, why would I want to keep doing something where I've already obtained the highest plateau I could reach? That's where you have to define yourself. What do you want to be? Do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be an actor? Or do you want to keep perfecting your craft in pro wrestling while you're still healthy and able? It's really all up to them. It's their perception of the business. I knew when I left, I'm like, this isn't over. I'm not leaving this way. I'm not going to retire or quit because someone's dictating my possibility and my experience and like what I can bring. I just said, fuck no, you guys are fucking crazy. So I took that, as a chip on my shoulder. See, they could take it as a chip on their shoulder getting released, or they can say, I'm moving off to greater pastures. It's literally up to them and their perspective on it. I look at it as, you're in WWE, you're building your brand, and you can use your brand any way you want once you're gone from the company. Like I look at Mojo, when he left, he was able to build this like agency for talent that they would have something to fall back on that could at least catapult them to another career in their future endeavors. So, I think that's the perspective that people need to have, is that you go to that company, you're there to build your brand. And once you have your brand, you're able to carry that brand anywhere else. Even make your brand to help create a new company. That's kind of the outlook I look at, when you go to WWE. That's kind of, if I was to go back there, that'd be the first thing I'd be like, all right, I'm going to see with how much I can do with the amount of time they're giving me. And then if I don't get that much time, at least I can say I made the most of it. And then I could take wherever the most I made from that company and then use it towards something else. Whether it's still pro wrestling, acting, stunt work, whatever I can use it for. Even a platform for like a YouTube show or a podcast show.
Shit, if you're slanging real estate.
Oh, exactly. Seriously. That's a lot of guys go into real estate when they're done with pro wrestling because the art is promoting something they could use or want to buy.
That's what Tyler Breeze is doing.
Yeah.
He's got like rental properties and shit, and so good for him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, back to your wrestling a little bit. What kind of Grizzly Kal Jak character do we have in 2011 or 2011?
2011,
Wow,
huh?
I'm tired. Excuse me.
Just add 11 more years to that. We're good to go. We're pretty much wrapped up with 2021, but 2022, I look at it as this is the prime year for me. You're not going to get a better version of me physically, mentally, and just in all avenues. And it's like, it would be a shame if no one wants to jump on that now, because I feel like once you hit 34, 33, 35, that age, that's when you get prime time. That's when you physically peak. That's when your athleticism for pro wrestling kind of hits its limit. And that's where your character, your persona, that's where you really do sound like a threat and a badass. And so for me, it's like, anyone that wants to book me or use me, you got to do it fucking now. Because there's no better time than now for me. Because I know exactly where I'm heading in all avenues. Like training's going really well at the compound. We're getting really good athletes coming in. I'm stepping into jiu-jitsu places. I'm training MMA. I'm training with the world's best in both pro wrestling, UFC, whatever you want to call it. I've gone toe-to-toe with those guys. So if any company wants legitimacy and wants a guy who looks like a fucking champ, walks like a pro wrestler, that's on them if they want to use me. If not, then they can go fuck off, is all I can say.
But preferably use him. Don't fuck off.
Yeah, you can use me. If not, they could fuck off. I say it really nicely.
So last couple questions. Who is you are the master of the gut wrench. So
yes.
Who is the biggest guy you've gut wrenched?
Juicy Fino.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Juicy. And before Juicy, there's another guy who's like he's like 400 pounds. I threw him in a gut wrench.
Oh, how big was Terex?
That's who it was, Terex. He's like 400.
I watched that match, and one of my favorite things about that is, you came out to, the bear came over the mountain, and then he comes out to Lynch, and, you're a NorCal guy too, so as soon as Lynch hits, you drop into that walk that every NorCal motherfucker hits when Lynch comes on, then you had to stop real quick because you can't
yeah,
your opponent's music.
How do you get into it?
Oh, dude, Lynch hits and you have a reaction.
You have to. There's no choice.
Right, as soon as it's time for, man, I can't even, drop Lynch lyrics anymore. That's politically incorrect. But as soon as Lynch hits, you start yelling along.
Yeah, and T-Rex is, he's a no apologies motherfucker. He'll say and do whatever he wants, that's why I love him.
Go ahead.
All right, you got anything else, Brandon?
Right, hit him with your last question, man.
That was pretty much my last question. I chambered that for a main event, but you know what? Since I know you're a food guy, because we already discussed it, who's got the best food in the world?
What do you, as far as like restaurant, what's the context of?
What city is the best place to feed a grizzly?
Well, right now it's Vegas, but I know Vegas doesn't have the best food in the world. I'll say this, and I said this not too long ago. There's a place that I've been somewhat addicted to, and they have these giant fucking burritos. Sayulitis. I know it's San Diego based, but they have one in Vegas. I love going there.
Is that the one you've been posting a bunch lately?
Yeah, it's not like, don't get me wrong, Mexican food, everyone has their spot. Like you can't say it's the best. It's not the best. It's just my particular favorite at the moment. But if you bring me to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet where I can get as much sashimi as I want, that would change my mind fast. Or if you give me anywhere where there's good Southern barbecue, that would change my, that would change my perspective on what I want for food as well. Right now, my girlfriend's food's the best in the world, but I can't just say, it's all preference.
Good answer, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of Mexican, man, I wish I remembered the name of the place. There's a place in Oakland that they sell burritos literally about as big as a forearm.
There's one in San Jose called Iguanas.
Iguanas.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's still good. Like, I couldn't believe that something that big was still good. Like, I thought it would lose some, like, consistency and quality.
Okay, but there's a difference, isn't there? Would you want a burrito that's yay long? I mean, I don't want to. It's like I'm talking about something else. But there's a difference with what kind of burrito you're looking for. So, I mean, it's whatever floats your boat and sinks your ship, or doesn't sink your ship.
And you know what? Before we leave, congrats on your recent title win in PPW.
Yes, thank you. I love PPW. I think as far as like underrated companies go, and a company where you get your money's worth, it's PPW. It is so much fun. You go there and they give you time to talk on the mic. They give you time to define your character. It's a family-friendly show. So it's like everyone can go. You can bring the kids. You can bring grandma. You can bring who the fuck you want. And it's just a good show that's open-minded, and it's for everyone. So if you get a chance, and not to mention Petaluma is such a really, really pretty town. It's gone through a lot with the fires and just with COVID, obviously like everyone with COVID, but it's one of my favorite promotions besides the Compound and a few others. So yeah, PPW, it's chef's kiss. I love it.
All right. Well, Grizzly Kal Jak, please tell our viewers and anybody else who will watch and listen to this later on, where can they find you? Where can they book you? And are you taking bookings for children's birthday parties?
I probably should take bookings for children's birthday party. My niece just had a birthday, and I was the best thing in it. There was a piñata. I didn't realize how shitty I was at hitting a piñata, but I'm not bad, and it's pretty entertaining to watch. If you guys get a chance, you can watch it on my Instagram. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at @Cal, spelled KAL_JAK_. There's a lot of underscoring in that name. There's 3 of them. But, there's no C's. Don't put a C in my name because that's average, and I'm not C average over here. And the same goes with my Twitter. You can follow me at KalJak, KAL_JAK. So, yeah, and if you want to book me, if you do, smart decision, you're a smart person, you could just DM me at either one of those spots, or you could hit me an email on my booking, which is kaljakbookings@gmail.com. So it's up to them. It's up to them what they want to do. I'll be right here. If they want me, they can get me. But I'm just, I'll be right here.
Just saying, you're available.
I'm free. If
you want a 6'6", jiu-jitsu touting motherfucker, fuck this man.
I mean, what do you want? Do you want some little boy doing flips and kicks, or do you want a grown-ass man that can throw people around? I mean, what's realistic? What's realistic, guys? What do you want? I mean, people complain about stuff, but they don't want to see anything change. So, teach their own.
Make a change. Book Kal Jak.
Yeah, that's it. That's my slogan. That's what I'm gonna run. Make a change. Book Kal Jak. 2022.
Sign.
Absolutely.
Well, Kal Jak is.
We're on the campaign trail, boys.
It's been an absolute
The great
treasure,
2022
man.
campaign.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. It's so much fun.
Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure joining us for episode 137 of Talking Shop with the Boss and the Box. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brandon the Boss Blacker. You can find me on Instagram at the real Brandon Blacker. Go find me on TikTok and all that other bullshit. Go find my band Suburban Paranoia on all social media platforms and streaming devices. By the way, Lunchbox, where can they find you? And after we do that, we gotta plug a little something.
Yeah, I was prepared for that. You can find my band Nothing But Losers at Nothing But Losers on Facebook, Nothing But Losers on Instagram, Nothing But Loser, that is no S, on Twitter. And you can find us live on December 17th at the Cozy Corner in Livingston for the return of the original 5 of Stig Murder and our boys in Glitch Kill. It's free, starts at 8 p.m., and I will be in a full-blown Santa suit. Or maybe just some half-naked perverted version of one. You can also find me at Loser Lunch. Yeah, don't worry about where you can find me. You can find this show every Monday night live at 8 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box. And Brandon, go ahead and tell them where else they might be able to find your handsome, heavyweight, humble co-host duo.
Well, I'll tell you what, on January 8th, you will see Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box doing color commentary for CWA's live pro wrestling in Atwater. That's right. That is California Wrestling Association in Atwater. You have Johnny Butabi, Daniel Torch, Manny Mars, the Collectors, the BLE, you name it, they'll be there.
They just announced today, Daniel Torch is putting his openweight championship on the line against the returning Christina Von Eerie.
But that's not all pro wrestling. On January 9th, you will also see us doing live color commentary at Blacklist Pro Wrestling. That's right, we're coming back to Strummers in Fresno. So we got a whole weekend of pro wrestling for you. You will see Papo Esco, you will see Manny Mars, you will see Diablo Azteca, and more, as well as our boy, Toxic Trent.
And not only that, but there will be the Battle Brawl to crown the inaugural Blacklist Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion.
That's right. So keep your calendar open, do a little traveling, eat some popcorn and hot dogs, because that's what we're getting paid in. And we will see you January 8th and 9th. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the boss. He is the box. And that is Grizzly Kal Jak. And we will see you on Monday. Thank you very much, sir.